What is going on, everyone? We are here with another spotlight interview series. Every week, every Sunday, we got new artists here from all over the place. We've had people from Canada, we've had people from Ireland, we've had people from all over the US. Today, we have Stefan Allen. Stefan, what's going on? How are you?
What's good? What's good?
Not too much. It's a rainy day up here in Massachusetts. It's been raining for way too long up here. It was nice out
Stop and
yesterday
go
with the
here.
sun.
It's stop and go here. It's raining 1 minute in Georgia, and then next minute it's blazing hot like it is right now. But it's about to start raining all over again.
No, exactly. Like yesterday was super nice
Crazy.
out, got to enjoy the weather, but then like I said, today it's just already been cloudy and rainy out all day, but doing another interview, doing something to kill time today, and I'm happy to have you on.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, no problem. So kind of before we get into the whole interview and like all the questions and stuff like that, why don't you just tell the people a little bit about who you are as an artist?
Um, I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York. I moved to Atlanta when I was young, and I've been back and forth ever since. So my music style is basically hip hop and dancehall with a little bit of pop, a little bit of R&B, and a little bit of everything, Afrobeat. Try to mix in as many sounds as possible to just create my vibes.
No, that's awesome. That's really cool. It's cool because like all my interviews and like I always try to just get so many people from different genres just so everyone can find that new music. And I'm always just about helping up and coming artists and stuff like that get their names more out there because I'm also trying to get my name out there as well.
Yeah, that's a blessing. We need more people like that. That's like willing to reach out and help and collab because
Exactly.
you don't
And I
always
mean,
have the money to pay for a collaboration. So when it's coming organically, it works better because everybody's pushing at the same time with
exact
right.
no, exactly. And people don't understand sometimes that aren't in music that don't understand how much some of the stuff can cost, like doing collabs and like getting together and then even just making the connections in the music industry. It's a really hard thing sometimes.
Yeah, that's an understatement. Real understatement. Need a bank account that to even try to do this.
No, exactly. But hey, I mean, I know from my standpoint, I'm just enjoying what I'm doing right now. I love giving back and helping other artists get their names out there, and it's what I like doing. So, I mean, I'm having fun with it at the moment, and eventually, if something can come out of it, then yeah, definitely. But I'm just having fun with it at the moment. So kind of getting into the first question here. Everyone always knows I start with the basic of basics. Is where did music start for you? Like, was it at an early age? Like, when did like everything start coming about? And like, what did you start doing at like when you started music?
I started writing in middle school.
Mhm.
And then when I got to high school, that's when I started trying to figure out how to record. So in high school, I went to Northcross High School. What I would do is any free time, any chance I could get on my dad's computer and create some music with like some random music program he had, like out of a music magazine and all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
I would just like quickly freestyle a track and like put it on a CD and just pass them out in high school. So that's how I got my name built.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. Like I mean, like I didn't it's just crazy because like some people start at such an early age doing that stuff. But like for me, like writing and producing wise, I only started just a few years ago doing what I'm doing. So it's always cool to see people like really like pushing to do what they love and doing their dream.
I've been at it for at least a decade now.
See, no, that's crazy. I wish I started that early, but like kind of like you a little bit though, is that's how I started is I was just using like GarageBand and like some little things here and there, like to try and like produce. And then like I was always writing stuff down too. And that's how I started my writing was just writing like stuff down in notebooks and all that fun stuff.
Oh man, I remember those days. I used to write a song a day in high school. I did
Really?
that for all 4 years. That's
Mhm.
how I got good at um, writing songs, like especially my verses, like because
Right.
I battled in high school as well.
Yeah.
Lost a lot, but I learned how to like do like different rhyme patterns and I learned a lot of techniques in high school by writing a song a day and battling. Like it was crazy. Like I was hated for that.
Really? No, that's awesome. Was that like a goal that you would like set for yourself, like to kind of just do a
Uh,
song a day?
I didn't have any friends.
Mhm.
I really didn't have any friends. I had like two or three friends.
Yeah.
So I spent a lot of time by myself.
Yeah.
And so in my free time, all I did was just write. That's all I
No, but
did. And
no,
then
but see
battling
that
came about. I was just trying to like make friends and like have fun with it. But people was like super competitive with it. So that's how I got into the battling scene. I don't really like battling.
Mhm.
but it helped me out. It made me stronger because at
Right.
first it was like shy. I'm like a super shy person. I stay to myself, but
Right.
when you're battling, you got to show that aggression, that energy, and you just got to be in the moment. That prepared me for how I perform on stage.
Right. No, and that's awesome, honestly, just because, like, I mean, the only reason I asked about the goals and stuff like that is just because, like, that's what I love doing. I love setting the short term and long term goals for my music. Like, obviously, we're already halfway through this year. So, kind of like my short term goals at the moment is to hopefully get at least another song or two out there on Spotify and Apple Music and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then long term wise, to just keep writing and stuff like that. And eventually just keep doing that stuff. So it's just cool that you were actually doing that, like a song a day. And I wish I had the willpower to do that at the moment.
It's discipline,
Yeah.
hard discipline. My dad was in the army, so I've always been disciplined. So if
Okay.
I know I have to do something, I know to set time apart and like just get in the mindset and just do it, even if I don't want to. So that's how that comes about.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. So, kind of getting into the next question is like, whether it's family wise or whether it's in the music industry itself, who are some of your inspirations? Like, did anyone really like kind of inspire you to like really push your music out more?
It was more of wanting to be heard
Mhm.
more. Like I said, I was a shy kid and
Yeah.
like I'm naturally like a quiet person.
Mhm.
So sometimes when I was younger, when I speak on stuff, like nobody would listen.
Yeah.
But as I started writing and like being able to like express myself a little bit better, music has actually helped me be a little bit more social with people.
Yeah.
And like it built and it just progressed from there and just builds from there. So like my inspiration is like to just be able to lend my voice to a conversation. Because
Right.
sometimes, because we live in a society where like everybody swears they're right.
Mhm.
And like I like to always like argue different point of views.
Right.
And like in music, you know that the song has to progress. So like from first verse and the second verse has to be, I make a point to make sure that they're from different point of views
Mhm.
or they're from different angles so that the song is like a lot more interesting, even though I'm talking about the same exact thing, but the angle of it is just different. Especially when I'm like collaborating with an artist, we'll set up a scene
Yeah.
and then I'll say I'm doing this in this scene like a movie, and
Yeah.
then the artist that's featured on the track with me or I'm featured on with, they'll come like from a different angle so that the storylines like match up so that the song makes sense. Because like sometimes when I used to collab with artists, the artists be off topic, and I used to get so pissed. So I always make it a point when we start, whoever creates the hook creates the storyline.
Right.
And then everybody else just adds on to the storyline. Nobody gets off topic whatsoever.
Mhm.
And everybody just work together on making it more for like if we're doing a movie soundtrack versus just making a song.
Right.
Because for me, movies is like was huge for me when I was younger because I had a lot of time to spend alone. So when I always wanted to make music for movie soundtracks. That's like the end goal. Like when I'm like older,
Yeah.
like make sure that I always wanted to make movie soundtrack music and like orchestral music, be
Right.
involved in that type of scene.
Mhm. No, so that's really cool. Like that's just like it's kind of different because like you don't hear a lot of people like say like stuff like that want to do stuff like that. So that's just like really, really cool to me, honestly.
Yeah.
And obviously you just started to touch up on the next question, which is kind of like your creative process and like how you kind of go about some stuff and like what do you really like look for when you're like making a song or like if you're like producing a beat or something like that, like what really like sticks to you when you do that kind of stuff.
So I usually just go with whatever the vibe is.
Mhm.
So when I start a beat, when I'm like halfway through structuring out and getting levels and stuff on the beat, I started thinking of phrases
Mhm.
and like maybe like a quote or something. And that's how I come up with my songs. So the first quote that comes to mind or the first thing that the beat makes me say, that's what the song is about. And that way I just basically build around that. So when I'm adding my vocals, everything's just is focused on that point. So even when I start writing, I write the topic on the top of the page.
Mhm.
But I write in pencil and paper. I know people like to do the phone and all this other weird stuff, but
Yeah.
I like to write on paper. So I always start like you're writing an essay, basically. That's basically how I think about it. And I just write the topic, then just go from there.
No, that's awesome. And like I feel like some of like you were kind of like describing like how like the movie scenes and like stuff like that to like get some of like the verses and hooks in there. So like you're definitely kind of into like that storytelling vibe and like really getting the story across, because that's where a lot of like that's how I write a lot of my stuff, is just to tell
Right.
that story.
The best way.
Like you're reading a book or you're watching a movie or something like that. Like I want the beginning, middle, and end, and I just want people to get drawn in and like listen to that whole story.
Yeah, that's the best music. That's the music that lasts a very long time. Because one time I researched what the highest selling music, like highest selling songs of all time. Like if you do a Google search, and you'll realize a lot of it's like rock and like pop, but if you'll realize that all the songs that they're listing, like the top 20,
Mhm.
they're all a storyline about something.
Right.
Like either it's a girl or a situation or something like that.
Yeah.
You don't see any club music really on that list. So that's my goal, to always make a point to make every song be a story,
Right.
whether it's very loose and it's very basic or complex. It needs to be a story in order to last a long time. Because I want to be able to pass my royalties down to my future children and
Mhm.
to my family and all of that. In order for that to happen, the music has to last.
No, exactly. No, and I definitely agree with like everything that you just said there. Cause like I said, I'm big on the storytelling when I write. Like I doesn't matter like what it's about. It's just like I just want to tell that story so people can listen and get that picture created in their head about this whole story that's going on throughout the song. And then that beat, like the beat and the melody is definitely a big part of always doing that stuff too, because you want people to start like feeling that, like especially like getting like some bass in there and stuff like that, like on some of the
Yeah,
harder stuff, and you just want them to really feel all of that kind of thing.
yeah. I always recommend for artists, even if it's not something they want to pursue, they need to make their own beats.
Ex-
Because I've always made my own beats from day one, but it was I learned out of necessity because I didn't have any money when I started. Didn't even have a laptop when I started.
yeah.
So I just had to learn. I had to force myself to learn just straight out of necessity. And I think that actually helped my songwriting process as well. Because now I know what each section is for, where the breakdowns are.
Mhm.
So I feel like I have an advantage because I've always made my own beats
Yeah.
versus, the opposite way of paying beats, because that's a whole nother route. And
Right.
you got to find something you actually like, when I can just make what I want to make at that time, just whatever piano chords I hear, just go for it.
No, right, exactly, and that's cool, and it's cool how this interview is going because it's kind of really setting us up for the next question a little bit too. I feel like from what you just kind of said is so I always hate talking about the last year with COVID and stuff like that, but a lot of people really started to push their music and just started to like try and get more of their stuff out there. And a lot of upcoming artists out there nowadays from all different kinds of genres, whether you're looking at just like country, pop, hip hop, rap, like producers making EDM and techno beat, like you just got all kinds of up and coming people out there.
Right. Yeah.
So, with that being said, obviously, I know you push a lot of your music. Like, I follow you on Instagram, so like you're always pushing stuff on there. And but what at the end of the day, what would you say makes you different compared to a lot of these other artists out there? Like, what makes Stephen Allen Stephen Allen?
What makes me different? Um, Energy. Because I had to make a conscious decision of what I wanted to do and
Mhm.
what I wanted to be represented as. And what I always stuck on is my personality is high energy and I'm always fun. So I always make dance music and high energy music, just stuff with a message in it. Because I used to be a conscious rapper. That's like how a lot of us start rapping.
Y-
And so I always wanted to make sure that I make good vibes and always put a message in the music, to where people, it's not like overbearing, it's not like preachy,
mhm.
but it's like you get my philosophy and my point. I think of myself as like the music as like I'm spitting philosophy.
Yeah.
Like I'm telling you my point of view. I'm always giving like both sides of a lesson, like the good and the bad of a situation, to be like more well-rounded.
Mhm.
Because like sometimes in music, artists always like to brag about what they do. Oh, they get this, to get that. I stay away from that. I'm more like, I may start here and then I always want to say where I ended up at, whether it was good and bad, because life is a circle and life don't always have ups. It's always, there's a lot of lows with it. And I'm not afraid to like show that balance, because that's something that we believe in. We believe in karma and like balancing to life and a lot of different things. So always putting those philosophies in the music and telling people what I stand for, what I'm going to stand on with my words, so that you know that I'm everything that I say, I'm gonna back up. And another thing that makes me different is I don't curse in my music. That was like a conscious decision.
Yeah.
Because my parents wanted to support me, and they wasn't going to support me if I'm cursing a lot, or if I'm talking about drug use and violence and stuff like that, because that's not, they're like old school music, don't like hip hop and all of that. So I've had to make a conscious decision. I want my parents to always support me. So when I started actually releasing music, because I wrote for a long time and I wrote for other people, but when I started actually writing and releasing for myself, I made that conscious decision to never curse, which makes me more creative, because now I can't use this elementary like vocabulary. I have to use higher vocabulary, middle, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so I use a rap dictionary and a rhyming dictionary as well to like help me with my writing sometimes, so that I use different words and always using a lot of adjectives. So when you hear my music, you're going to be able to see, you're like, when you're listening, you're going to feel like you can see exactly what I'm talking about. And that's like the angle I always go with.
No, that's awesome. And like I said, I think obviously I always tell people, like, I talk about this question, like that question that we just had, like before the interviews, because it is sometimes it either makes or breaks an artist, sometimes is what I view it as. And it is a tough question on what makes you you, but you just killed that question. You answered it perfectly. And I feel like I always like, this is one of my favorite words that I always love using, is instant identity. You kind of know what you want to do with your music. Like, you know who you are, what you want to put out there, what you want your fans to take from it, and just stuff like that. So it's just really cool that you have like that, like driven mindset on like what you want and what you want people to take out of it.
Yeah. Because eventually you have to stand on it. Like eventually, like if you're, because I grew up in a rough environment. So like I know how those outcomes are, because I grew up around that. So I want to stay away from that. Like that's the goal. The goal was to get away from that. So if I put that in my music, all I'm doing is just I'm staying in place. I'm not progressing in life.
Right.
So I'm always preaching to what I want to be and who I want to be seen as and where I want to be. Because I know one day it's going to work out for me and I'm going to get where I want to go. But if I have all this baggage behind me, it's going to, it pulls you down when you keep negative energy around. So I'm always positive. Stay positive no matter what. I know like things might not look a certain way, might not go your way, but staying positive and always looking towards the future and having goals for the future is what keeps me going. It's like, all right, I'm here in a year. In a year, I want to be here. I want to make sure I accomplish this year. I always have like a roadmap or a loose plan of what I want to accomplish in a year, like how many videos I want to do, how many songs I want to do. All of that's planned out right before New Year's. And then when January 1st hit, that I just work on that all year long. That way I'm always staying focused and not like getting too distracted with trying to accomplish everything in the world. I'm just focused on what those goals were.
Yeah. No, and again, that's just super awesome, because like I said, like I'm always setting like those short-term and long-term goals for myself as well throughout my music, whether or not I want to get some more songs out there, whether I want to do another like 5 or 6 interviews, like to keep pushing the interview series. I mean, because right now we're already well over almost 20 episodes right now. And it's just crazy because like when I first started this, I did like the first 3 interviews I did were all in like the same day. I just did them all like one after another, and like I posted them each week, and they were like slowly like getting some views and stuff like that. And then eventually after like the 6th or 7th episode, I really started building that traction, because like you said, this is like this is what I have to stand on, and like I want to make sure that it's going to work. And now almost 20 episodes later, I'm happy with the progress it's making, and I'm just setting those short-term and long-term goals and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's good. Consistency.
Exactly. So kind of going into the last question here before we listen to something from you is, what are your goals as an artist? Like, where do you want to go with your music? I know you kind of touched up on this a little bit already, kind of. And like, what else can we expect from you down the road?
Well, for this year, I have a song since the first week of January to the last week in December. I have a song, I have a record coming out every day. So I'm doing, at the moment, I'm building catalog. I'm going catalog route versus trying to push a single.
Yeah.
Because I tried pushing a single like every year for like the last few years and it doesn't work. So I heard a Russ interview and what he did. So my goal is to do exactly the same thing he did, but make sure I capture it on film. So so for every song I have coming out this year, I also have a vlog with it. So the song comes out every Friday, a new song comes out every Friday. And then on Saturday, the vlog of me making that song comes out. And then it's just been building ever since. So that's been the goal for this year, to just keep up with posting on the social media with that. Because for each vlog, I broke it down into sections, and that's how I'm able to post literally every day on my Instagram without having to create new content. So I created a year's worth of content in 3 months last year, and now everybody's just watching that. So I'm just watching that play out. And then next year is to do, instead of doing singles, because I realized I use DistroKid.
Right.
So I'm paying for each, like, like DistroKid, you pay for a yearly subscription, but then what people don't realize is for the monetization of that song, you got to pay for each song or each album.
Exactly.
So I did 50 singles. So I'm doing that. And then next year, I'm going to do 12 albums. That's the goal for next year, is to do 12, 10 track albums. So it's going to be a lot of recording I'm about to start doing to make sure I get that accomplished, because catalog, if people can't find you, it doesn't matter. If you don't have anything out there, it just doesn't matter. Exactly. How hard you push one song. When you get to that one song, nothing happens after that. But if you have a catalog, it can explode. So that's the goal I'm going with.
No, and that's awesome. And like, I've been following you for a while. I'm a fan of all your stuff. And no, of course. And I just can't wait to keep going on the journey because I feel like I'm on the journey with you. It's just going through like all your music and stuff like that, and always posting. So like, I definitely can't wait for a lot of new things from you to come. And it's just, I'm excited. And I know once other people realize who you are and stuff like that, they're definitely going to be excited as well.
Yeah, it's growing.
Hey.
Finally.
No, exactly. Hard work does pay off eventually. So, I mean, it's good. Getting into the fun part here is a song by you that you made. Before I play a little bit of it, do you want to just give us a little background on what's going on here with the song?
Okay. So this song is called Rolling Through the City. Mm-hmm. So at the time period, me and my younger brother, we was living together, and he actually made this beat. Like, somebody passed up on it, and he wanted me to like do some records for him for his project, because like he produces as well, and he gets like a collaboration of artists to get on the beats, and he puts it out as an album, sort of like what DJ Khaled does. Yeah. And we were just coming from like a car meet, so that's where Rolling Through the City come from. So I'm basically, from the beginning, I'm telling you how we're driving through the city and what's going on, what type of cars are there, what type of people are there. And in the video, you see me at the car meet. I shot the music video at the car meet in front of the cops and everything. It was crazy. It was crazy. And then one of the other scenes in the music video was downtown next to the Mercedes-Benz stadium. So it was like, I'm just showing you verbally, I'm showing you what's going on, and in the music video you can actually see what's going on, because that's one thing about songwriting. If you write about your actual life and what's going on, it makes it easier to put music videos together, because it's like, all you got to do is, I know, I just need to go to this spot, just need to go to that spot, and boom, it's done.
No, exactly.
Rolling Through the City is just that vibe about what happens on those type of nights when we going out and just hitting them car meets.
No, that's awesome. So kind of without further ado, let's take a listen to Rolling Through the City.
Yeah.
Dude, that is just
Yeah.
that's a vibe right there. I love
Yeah,
it.
but you see what I mean about like you can visually see what I'm talking about. Like
Yes.
that's how I write all my songs. Like it's yeah,
No, and that's just awesome. And then you said your brother actually produced that beat.
yeah.
When it started like kicking up and when it really got into it, that was just such a cool beat. Like I actually love that a lot. And it's just cool, like you said, with your writing, you can really just like I can picture all that stuff. Like I was picturing everything and just that story and stuff. It's just really, really cool. So definitely people need to go check out the rest of that song and listen to it. Give him a like, give him a follow, Rolling Through the
Be
City.
blessed.
Um, so kind of just before we end things here, you want to just let people know like kind of where we can find you on some social medias and stuff like that and where everything's at for you.
Okay, so my website is iamstephanallen.com.
Mhm.
All of my social media handles is I am Stephan Allen. And my email is iamstephanallen@gmail.com. And if you Google Stephan Allen Music, all my stuff pop up as well. So it's not hard to find me at all. Everything's
Awesome.
linked together.
No, that's awesome. Everyone, please go follow Stephan Allen. Super cool. What he's doing right now. Definitely has a lot more cool stuff coming. Again, thank you so much for coming on and doing this.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate it. Can't wait for all my fans and other people to see this for sure.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
No, of course. So that concludes another episode of the Spotlight series hosted by yours truly, ACK. You know the drill. Every Sunday, we got a new interview, new upcoming artists, and I'll see you all next Sunday. Thanks for tuning in.
Yep.